Serving up a warm dish of the Triad's culinary fare, here's your weekly helping of food, news, and views. This is the man who ate the town.
Hey folks, and welcome to episode 198 of the Man Who Ate the Town podcast. This is for the week of May 10th through the 16th, 2021. My name is Tim Beeman.
My name's Ray Morgan.
And we are opening the really loud recipe box. We are recording this episode of the Man Who Ate the Town in the Less Desirable Studio South, aka my house. We are practicing social distancing and using Zoom, sponsored by Bull's Tavern. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcatchers like Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or Spotify, or any of that ilk, we'd appreciate a like, a follow, a rating, or anything that they allow you to do. We would definitely, it would help us tremendously. And if you're listening to us on the Triad Podcast Network, welcome and thank you. This episode of The Man Who Ate the Town is brought to you by Diamondback Grill, casual dining located in the heart of Buena Vista in Winston-Salem. It is a fantastic family-owned farm-to-fork restaurant that sources most of its ingredients from local farmers. Try one of their themed menu specials. Each day is a different theme, and Stephanie and I ate again there this weekend because A, it's convenient, and B, it's so damn good. We had our favorite lump crab hush puppies. Stephanie had the salmon sandwich, and I had the Mac Daddy double burger. And that burger was truly the Mac Daddy because it was huge. I ate half of it, forcing it in my face because it was so big. And then the other, about 3/4 of it. In the last quarter, I had to just use a fork because it was falling apart. Because I was squeezing the crap out of it to get it in my mouth. But the flavors were really, really good.
Is that an official entry?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, I'm conflicted as to whether or not to count it because it's not technically a menu item. It's a specialty item. And that's...
Last year, or 2 years ago, that was the breaker. It had to be on the menu.
Yeah, you're right. So, I don't know. I'll decide later, but...
Now, is it on the menu every time they do burgers?
Don't know. I don't remember it from last time because I think I would have had that last time. So that could be the caveat or the kicker, you know, one of the two. But it was a schloat of a burger. I'm gonna be honest with you. Diamondback Grill is located at 751 Avalon Road. Find them on the web, diamondbackgrill.com, and on Facebook and Instagram, just Diamondback Grill. Something that I say every week is becoming routine. Almost half of the restaurants on my side of the list are advertising that they're hiring for many, if not all, positions. There is most definitely a drought for quality help right now. That is the main thing. Well, this past week, everything was Happy Mother's Day, but beyond that, we need help, we need people, we need servers, we need cooks, we need managers. So basically, if you can do anything associated with restaurants and the hospitality industry, there is a job out there waiting for you. Can't say you can't find work right now. You may not be able to find it for whatever you're making on unemployment, but that will dry up soon. So get your job now. Help them help you. Get some help. La Batana is closed again today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. Today, for Mother's Day, which I guess one day wasn't enough. And for the next 2 days to resume and hopefully finish the renovations they've been working on. Again, this is the most sporadically closed restaurant that I know of. Renovations, I get that. Mother's Day, I get that, sort of, for Monday. But it's like the boy who cried wolf. It seems there's never a week that goes by when they're not unexpectedly closed at least one day for some mystery reason or something happened. Those buildings aren't that old. I used to have a store in the one that sits directly across the parking lot from them, and we didn't have that any kind of issues. So I don't know what's going on. So I don't know what to say other than La Botana. Just anytime you go, call first. I recommend that you go. The food is good, but at the same time, call first, because you might be in for a rude awakening when you go over there. And if you do just go over and they're not there, stop by and see Sudha Maparthy and her family at Om Indian Grocery. And if you're still wanting some good food and you're on that side of town, you have Basil Leaf and Hakka Chow across the street. So check one
You're
of those
right.
out.
Both of them are excellent.
They are. Mizu Japanese is closed on Tuesdays from now on, and they right now are still takeout only, and they're working on ways of getting around that. They said it was because of, everything else, is because they can't find the help. That's why Mr. Barbecue hasn't opened. That's why a lot of these places are closing an extra day of the week so that they don't have to turn the lights on and have to pay somebody to be there when nobody's there. So it's just one more day, one more place, because
I wonder if we're going to start to see the pressure to increase wages in the restaurant industry.
Well, I'm sure we are. I talked to a couple of people, and they said, the prices are going to go up. And I said, bring it. The food is worth having. If the food's worth having, people are going to pay.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have to keep the quality up, even if you raise the cost. There's a restaurant here in town that used to be one of my favorites, and I don't care to go back anytime soon because the prices have almost doubled, and the quality is much less than it was. I'm not going to mention that restaurant's name, but it's truly disappointing to me. But I'm okay with the prices going up as long as the value goes up, or at least stays consistent. I'm not going to pay more for less.
Well, and when there's this kind of weird thing that would happen when everyone's wages come up, then we can afford to pay the price.
Yeah.
Funny thing.
Yeah. So true. Mamma Mia's Italian Ice has moved to a new location in Clemens. Nat and Kathleen Oliveri opened Mamma Mia's at 3560 Clemens Road in 2018, and they offered customers a taste of their what they knew in New York. The new location is at 2731 Louisville Clemens Road, which is less than a mile from the original location. They needed more space to operate and more parking. This is in a shopping center. The Oliveris have since added other items such as soft pretzels, bagels, and knishes. And like the Italian Ice, the products come straight from New York. They also have pizza kits with frozen dough and all the ingredients necessary for making your pies at home. And speaking of pies and Clemens, Pie Guys reopened a couple of weeks back after the arson fire that closed them back in February. For that, Burton Stanley Kapaski III was arrested with 3 felonies in connection with the fire. According to the warrant arrest, he broke a window with a baseball bat, poured gasoline through the opening, and threw a Molotov cocktail inside.
Wow.
Now, I can't confirm this part, but rumor has it he was a former employee. So he was disgruntled or got fired or whatever. But the point is, they're back open. So yay. And the owner said that the fire was mostly in the dining room, but the kitchen suffered some smoke and water damage. And I know that our friend Ed Dean and his folks at ServPro were the ones who did all the restoration to make it like it never even happened. And
Kind of hard to argue that wasn't intentional.
yeah. I didn't mean to hit it with a baseball bat and then accidentally
I
drop
just
some
happened
gasoline.
to have all this gasoline and
And wow, look at
Molotov
this
cocktail.
Molotov cocktail. How did that get here?
that wasn't here this morning. Where did it come from? I don't remember picking one up at Walmart. Where did it come from? Yeah.
Yeah. Carrabba's. Go
I
ahead.
get being, I get being disgruntled with a former employer.
Yeah.
Because I've had some disagreements with employers in the past myself.
Right.
But really?
Yeah. Some people are just stupid. Like, I wonder if these businesses around this have cameras. Look, they do. So, Carrabba's.
Maybe I shouldn't drive up here with my driver's license or license plate being visible and my face being on camera.
Right, exactly. And, if I did work there, maybe somebody would recognize my car. So, you okay?
Yes.
Okay. So, Carrabba's Italian Grill is located at 587 South Stratford Road. This is no chain. This is a responsible family of restaurants. Carrabba's and their owner partners take the communities they serve very seriously, and for us, having a fantastic franchisee like Daniel Butner certainly does not suck. Ray, yesterday was the 108th birthday of Winston-Salem.
Wow.
It was
I didn't realize that.
May 9th, 1913, that the two officially merged. But do you know who else had a birthday yesterday?
Was it DB?
It was. We know that Daniel's story of how his many times great-great-grandfather and great-great-uncle both were part of the original 8 to help found Salem. Daniel loves this town because of it and because of how great the city can be, of course. So it's fitting that he shares a birthday with the town that he loves. Happy day after Solar Circumnavigational Anniversary Day to you, Daniel Butner.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So
I wonder which one this was.
for him,
Yeah.
I want to say 47 or 48. I'm guessing.
He hasn't crossed the threshold then.
No. Oh no.
Coming.
Yeah. So, while we don't have a real update on Slappy's as far as actual reopening goes, they are deep in renovations. We do know of a good deed they did. Keith, who is an employee of theirs, and I knew Keith from his days at Twin City Diner, lost everything he had in the house fire a few weeks back. Slappy started and promoted a GoFundMe campaign, and it seems that it was a great big help for Keith. They posted a video from him, very emotional, saying how much he appreciated and loved everyone. So I hope you get back on your feet soon, Keith, and thank you, Slappies, for being a good steward for the community and for your employee.
That's awesome.
I called Murphy's Lunch today, and the answering machine message said that they are still waiting on their SBA loan to go through and be approved. So apparently the last piece of the puzzle is that loan. I will continue to check for you. Honestly didn't know that this place had closed, but the Senor Bravo Express, or whatever it was called, downtown on Trade Street, is gone with realtor signs in the window. The whole biz there was a bit confounding, really. You had to go through a side door to get in. They were only open sporadic hours outside the pandemic, and a plethora of other things, including the owner, Sal Bravo's brush with death during the pandemic. I haven't heard from Sal in a while. I would like to know how he's doing. So Sir Winston did another pop-up this past Friday, or Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, for a planned concept that's going into Roar called Irie Plates. And is Jamaican based food. Oddly enough, the Tuesday before this started, the person that was working with them on the concept and was going to run it pulled out on Tuesday. And this was happening Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So they were going to cancel the event. And Chef Andre, who we've had on this podcast, said, "No, give me a couple days." So he, I don't have because I thought of this right as we were getting ready to record. I have downstairs a menu that I brought home from it, but I can tell you some things that were on the menu. There was a macaroni pie. There was Jamaican jerk wings. There was curried goat. There was oxtails. There was a Caribbean red snapper, I think, and one other item and one more appetizer, but I can't for the life of me remember what they are off the top of my head. Like I said, I have the menu, but I thought about adding this to the conversation right as I was hitting the red button. So anyway, they are still planning to do a Jamaican concept in Roar. This was not it, but this was still fantastic. We had the macaroni pie, which is basically macaroni and cheese in this big casserole, and they brought this out, and it was this big. I'm talking about 8 inches long, probably about 5 inches wide, and 2.5 inches deep. It was a lot of mac
and cheese.
It was, but it was so good. And I had the Jamaican jerk wings, and with Jamaican jerk sauce, you can range from mild to woo, and this was more along the lines of It wasn't hot, but it certainly had a kick to it.
Got your attention.
And then for our meals, Stephanie had the curried goat, and I had the oxtail, and both of them were fantastic. Stephanie said afterwards that she kind of wished, because she had like I said, the goat, and I had the oxtail, but she said she kind of wished she had the oxtail, which I had the whole thing, so it was good. And then I tried her goat, and I thought it was really good, so maybe we should have just switched plates. We could have been okay with that, but we didn't, and we both enjoyed it, and so it was good stuff.
Well, looking forward to seeing whatever it is that they ultimately end up doing with this particular concept.
Yeah, I don't know why. All that being said, I don't know what the deal is, but it's got to be hard to nail down your concepts whenever people keep backing out. This is the second time that's happened to them, and I'm sure that happens a lot, but not right before. Both times it was right before it happened. This one was Tuesday before the Thursday, Friday, Saturday thing. I don't know if they got spooked or what. And the last one was when they were going to do the sandwich shop. And Kevin, who was on this show, I think Kevin was his name, backed out the last minute. So I don't know. Anyway, moving on from that. Washington Perkin Provision Company is located at 301 West 4th Street. You'll find a little bit of everything at the Perkin Chip Corner deli to get your sandwich on the go. Fruits, veggies, meats, and dairy from local sources. Bingo Bango sodas, Wolfie's custard, a wall of beer and wine, and more. Washington Perk is better than a convenience store, not quite a grocery store. Our Facebook page, or their Facebook page, is Washington Perk, or at Washington Perk _DTWS on Instagram. All right, so let's talk about the Country Spinner, finally.
Okay, let's talk about that.
So, Stephanie and I love to travel, but on a nonprofit salary in a small independently run media company, there isn't a lot of funds to do that a lot. Plus, even if we had money right now, not many countries are allowing foreign visitors, so that's
True.
not a thing. So, because one of our most important things for us when we travel to do is food, we decided just because we couldn't be there doesn't mean we couldn't enjoy the food from places, right?
True.
So, there is a website where you can put together a list, and it puts it into a randomizer in the form of a wheel, like the Wheel of Fortune kind of thing. You know, you spin the wheel and see where it lands. So, I put all 197 countries on this list, and we spun the wheel. The idea is to learn something about the country we land on, the culture, the people, history, and of course, the food. So our first spin took us to the country of Mauritius.
Where?
Yes, exactly. A lot of people had never heard of this. And the only reason I had is because I'm a big Sporkle player and geography is one of my favorite parts. And I didn't know what Mauritius was before that. Mauritius is an island country off the eastern coast of Africa. More specifically, it's off the eastern coast of Madagascar in the Indian Ocean. Mauritius was discovered by Portugal or Portuguese sailors in 1507, but it remained uninhabited until the Dutch took over in 1598. Now, this doesn't mean that it was settled per se, but the Dutch just controlled it. It went back and forth over a few centuries between France and the UK. Then on March 12th, that happens to be Stephanie's birthday, she wasn't born yet, but in 1968, they got their independence from the UK. And exactly 24 years later, on the 12th in 1992, they established a republic. Now, since the history and culture of Mauritius are almost exclusively borrowed from other cultures, mainly Northern Africa, which most of Africa itself was heavily influenced by Dutch, French, and British rule. Also, Indian and Chinese culture is very much prominent in Mauritius. In fact, the term Sino-Mauritian, which means Chinese Mauritius, was all over the place in my research. So we decided, we took 3 dishes from my research and created Mauritian-inspired dishes over the last couple of weeks. You'll have to actually read on my blog when I write that for the recipes and more detailed information, but I will tell you what we had. So for Mauritius, we had cheese fritters, which I made my very own batter and dipped chunks of Dubliner cheese into this and deep fried them.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
That sounds good.
The batter had, it was made with chickpea flour, so it wasn't white flour. It was actually vegetable based, which I guess wheat is vegetable, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get you. I get you.
Yeah. And we had chives and onions and green onions and some spices and stuff in there. Like I have the recipe I'll put in a blog post later, but then I just made that into a batter and then put chunks of Dubliner cheese in there and deep fried it. It was really good. I think I had the oil too high on that, but they were still very good. We still have some of the batter. We froze it, and we will use that again.
You'll repeat that experiment?
Yeah, and I'll make sure that the heat is not quite so high. I don't have a one of those thermometers that you actually check oil temperature with, so I need one, but I don't have one.
The heat goes down. Yeah.
Yeah. Then we had our take on and I say our take because I find recipes, but then I alter it for my own personal pleasure. So we had our
Part of the
take.
creative process.
That's right, and it becomes my recipe at that point. We had our take on Ojja, O-J-J-A, which is the Tunisian version of shakshuka, which differs from the Israeli and other northern African dishes named shakshuka because it adds lamb sausage to the mix. Now, lamb sausage is hard to find around here, so we went with, instead, Italian sausage. We had both the fritters and the Ojja on the same night. And then last night, we had our interpretation of Mauritian seafood rogal, which, oddly enough, is not unlike shakshuka, except we added shrimp and cod to the dish, in addition to some red, yellow, and orange bell peppers, pineapples, and a few chili flakes.
Well, that sounds good.
Yeah, we had that on couscous, which is also very African. And I have to say, it's pretty much one of my favorite dishes that I've ever created here at home. It was really, really good. We had extra, so we'll probably have that again tonight.
I love that y'all are, I mean, no offense intended, but this is kind of like super geek kind of stuff going on. I'm like, man, this is so cool.
Yeah.
I love that it's not just, all right, let's figure out something new to eat. It's, let's learn a little bit about this country and their culture and the whole process.
Yeah, because I want it to be like we
cool.
were there. Because that was part of it. We love learning this place. We usually don't do a lot of touristy things when we travel. We do some, of course, but we've been to Paris twice, spent 10 days in Paris, and although we walked under it twice, we never went to the Eiffel Tower. And we never, and even though I touched the building, I've never been inside the Louvre. So, you know, it's, we just prefer
and those would be worth doing, for sure.
Well, they would be, but we're just more interested in the culture and the people and how everyday people live there, especially Paris, because it's our favorite city in the world. But the idea of the travel for us is not just going, it's experiencing. So that was what a lot of this was.
I'm that same way. That I remember going to Nassau and catching up with a local guy. We were just sitting on the beach and strike up a conversation. I was like, where do you eat?
Yeah.
Because I know where all the hotels are telling us to go eat, but where do you go eat?
Right.
He took us down the beach to this shack. It's like, yes, the food was the best we had. I mean, we went to some of these, you know, huge, big, you know, they've all got stars and they're fancy and they're super and you pay a lot of money for it and it's a beautiful atmosphere and but the food at the shack was like 100 times better.
Yeah.
And we're sitting on a picnic table that's barely held them together, but right there at the water, you know, it's like catch up with the local and see the local flavor. And I appreciate that's what you're doing, even though you can't go to this tiny little island off of Africa.
Right.
You're going to sample them anyway. I love it.
Yep. And all in all, I'm going to say that Mauritius is delicious. It was just, it's really good. So tune in next week to when I reveal what our next spin was. So
that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Are y'all going to do that like a different one each week?
Well, this one went on. I don't want to rush any of them, so I don't want to say it's a schedule. So, I mean, this one took 3 weeks to do, mainly because of the NCAA tournament that I was in the middle of last week,
right.
or the week before. So it was just not, we weren't able to really do anything, but I didn't want to rush through. I wanted to have, I think in my mind, I want to at least cover 2 dishes, but 3 if possible. I want to get a variety of things. So, again, watch the blog post, and I will post it on Facebook and all that stuff whenever I write these recipes up on the blog, because I'm really proud of how it came out, all of them, and they were all delicious, and pictures are fantastic too. So I don't know how. I mean, the quality of the pictures don't really do it justice, but I mean, it looks good in the picture. I don't have all my fancy stuff set up in my house, so the pictures come out a little bit odd, but I'm working to correct that as we speak.
Looking forward to it.
So now let's talk burgers.
Yes.
So Burger Tour 21 is definitely underway. I haven't added anything new, so we're still at 96 burgers. This week, I had burgers from Carolina Ale House, an official burger from Papa Lee's Grill, and Street Team Steve and I went to Quiet Pint and were treated to a wonderful smash burger that wasn't supposed to be. Dave Hillman, who owns Quiet Pint, had been talking to me about a smash burger there for a little bit, and truthfully, they've gone through a couple of chefs, so it's been a carousel here in the last little bit. And he said that they hadn't worked on that yet, and our server, and the cooks didn't really even know what a smash burger was. What do you mean by smash burger? Well, we told them, and they said, okay, let's give it a shot. And we were pleasantly surprised. I mean, the order was wrong, but the burgers themselves were fantastic. So Dave showed up and he's like, well, how was it? And it was really good. We were both, again, very pleasantly surprised. So
now, is that an official entry?
Maybe not. I'm going to see, because they do plan on putting it on the menu, and it will be on the menu if things go well before we finish this tour. So I think it's safe to say, because it has to be menu specific items at the end of the tour, right? It has to be there then. So
there you go.
So you never know that Diamondback burger may stick. We'll see.
You know, here's a possible workaround on Diamondback. If it's something that they do when they do burger night, then it is on their normal burger night menu.
That's right. So
drop the mic. I win.
You do. Don't drop that mic. It's mine.
No. This is. I'll drop my pencil. Here we go.
Okay, all right. As I said, I'm not divulging any information until later this year. I have put a post on a couple of the local foodie boards on Facebook, and I'm still looking for recommendations. Where do you want me to try a burger? And of course, you don't have to tell me Nick's or Boondoggies or Hops or Bad Daddy's. We know we're going there. In fact, we have done Hops, and I have done all the big burger spots, all three of them. So just someplace that's not there, just let me know. Send it to via message on Facebook or my own Facebook, or Tim at themanwhoatetown.com. So food holidays are sponsored by Mojito Latin Soul Food. It's your go-to Cuban and Latin inspired restaurant. The good news is, as the last couple of weeks, even with staffing, they are open for dine-in. The outdoor right now feels fantastic, so go out to their patio and have food there. Again, the Cuban sandwich, the Cubano, is to me the best sandwich in town. All the flavors punch you in the tongue, and that sandwich especially is made in the tradition that Michael grew up with. They do reservations, takeout, and have a rather large outdoor patio. Like I said, do deliveries to surrounding businesses. So check them out, Mojito Latin Soul Food, and I think it's 723 North Trade Street is their address. All right, so today is the 10th of May. It's National Shrimp Day, and I had shrimp yesterday, so yesterday to me was National Shrimp Day. It was in that the Mauritian Rugal.
That was a little premature celebration, but we'll count it.
That's right. On the 10th in 1869, a golden spike was driven at Promontory Summit, Utah, joining the Union Pacific and Central Pacific Railroads, officially completing the U.S. Transcontinental Railroad.
That's a lot of work.
That was. Did you ever see Hell on Wheels TV show from AMC?
I don't know that I have.
It's basically a historical fiction about that time. Many of the characters really were real people, but some of it is not real, but it's a really good show. On the 10th in 1898, the first vending machine law was passed in Omaha, Nebraska. I don't know what the law was, but
what
they
law
passed
do we
it.
need for a vending machine?
Yeah, I don't know. You can have them. I don't know. Maybe it's because at that time, I'm sure they didn't have expiration dates on anything. So maybe it was that the law, you had to make sure it was edible what you put in there. I don't know.
I'd be curious.
Yeah, in 1908, on the 10th, the first Mother's Day observance took place during church services in Grafton, West Virginia, and Philadelphia. So
it was very easy. You know, I've done a little bit of research on Mother's Day versus Father's Day.
Yeah.
It was easier to get the Mother's Day stuff started than it was the Father's Day. Yeah, Father's Day actually started earlier than Mother's Day, but it didn't catch on. Not until much later.
Yeah. Yep. I think mothers are more important.
I like the mothers.
I do too. In
Fond of them.
Very fond of them. In 2010, on the 10th, a 10-year-old third grade student in Texas was given 1 week detention for, quote, being in possession of a candy bar at lunchtime, unquote.
Ooh.
The candy bar was confiscated.
Poor heathen child.
I know.
Got a candy bar at lunch. How dare you have a candy bar?
That little bastard had the audacity to bring candy bar to my lunchroom. On the 11th, it's National Mocha Tort Day. Okay.
Ooh.
And
Oddly specific, but okay, I like mocha.
yeah. And the day that I can get behind, Eat What You Want Day.
Yes. Yes. Time for chocolate and maybe some beer.
Yes. Because it is a food group. It's liquid bread.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
On the 11th in 1946, the first care packages for survivors of World War II in Europe arrive at Le Havre, France. And CARE actually stands for Cooperative for American Remittances to Europe. So it wasn't just because we cared; it was actually an abbreviation. What's the word? An
acronym.
Acronym. Yeah, I was saying there. Analogy? No, acronym. You're exactly right.
Morphonism is amoeba.
Atlas.
Something like that.
Yeah, anagram.
That's
That's something else
somewhere.
I was trying to think. Well, anagram? No.
Anagram. Yep, it could have been that.
Yeah. I knew it started with an A. On the 11th in 1947, B.F. Goodrich announced the development of the tubeless tire.
I proceeded to pop many. When I was 10, I got a 10-speed bike for my birthday.
Yeah.
My brother, who was a couple of years younger, got a little BMX bike. I kept trying to take my 10-speed and make it be a BMX bike, and in the first month, I popped 6 tubes. So, yeah, Mom was like, stop. You quit jumping on stuff. No more ramps for you.
On the 11th in 2010, a giant herring measuring 11.4 feet long was discovered in the fishing village of Valvestrand on Sweden's west coast.
That's gotta be the granddaddy.
Yeah, the Regulus glens, known as the king of herons or giant oarfish, has been in Sweden had last been seen in Sweden in 1879. So the rarely
Wow.
seen fish can reach nearly 40 feet long and weigh up to 600 pounds.
I don't know that I've ever seen a herring that big.
I hadn't either.
That's just crazy.
I think it's a ruse. Get it?
It's all one giant hoax.
Yeah.
Vast right-wing conspiracy.
Yeah, it's giant red herring. Where am I? On the 12th, it's National Nutty Fudge Day.
Okay.
I
I'm
don't,
good with nuts in my fudge.
I don't like nuts in my fudge. It's the whole thing of contrasting textures. I would rather it all be uniform as far as texture goes. So I don't want to have something soft and gooey and then all of a sudden, ouch.
I'm good with it. So,
All right, you can have my nutty fudge. I'll have the nutless fudge. You have the man, I have the woman. There we go.
hey, now wait a minute. I think I just caught that. No, wait a minute. I'm going to go get my own fudge.
On the 12th in 1777, Philip Lindsay, a London confectioner, ran the first advertisement for ice cream in the United States in the New York Gazette. On
Cool.
the 12th,
Fudge.
that's cool. On the 12th in 1874, African-American inventor Elijah McCoy received a patent for a folding ironing table. A prolific inventor, McCoy received 57 patents in his lifetime and is supposedly the source for the expression, the real McCoy, meaning the real thing. In 1874, on the 12th, Charles Orvis received a patent for a fishing reel, the prototype for modern fly reels. On the 12th in 1896, Charles B. Brooks of Newark, New Jersey, was issued a patent for a dust-proof bag for street sweepers.
I guess that would be an important thing.
I guess, because if it wasn't dust-proof,
Then you're
was it just
spreading dust?
Yeah, it's just you're vacuuming it up or sweeping it up, but that makes no sense.
Then
And
you're just spewing it.
that's spewing the dust. In 1978, on the 12th, the U.S. Commerce Department announced that hurricane names would no longer be exclusively female. Both male and female names would now be used. And then what was the case about 5 years ago when they had to dive deep into the Greek alphabet because we ran out of names. There were so many
Right.
storms. On the 12th in 2020, first time we've talked about coronavirus this week, North Dakota State Fair in July was canceled, and Steak and Shake restaurants closed 50 locations permanently. So, on the 13th, it's National Apple Pie Day. I'll pass. I'm a fan of
I love a
apple
good
pie.
Love a good apple pie, especially warm with some vanilla ice cream.
Yeah, you can have that. I'll just eat the non-nutty fudge. It's National Fruit Cocktail Day.
Do you like yours with or without the cherries?
With, of course.
Okay.
It's World Cocktail Day, not fruit cocktail, but just cocktails. International Hummus Day. We'll talk about cocktails here in a second.
And hummus, do
You don't like hummus? You like baba ganoush?
Oh, okay, some, yeah. I'll eat hummus, but I'm not going to go looking for it.
Yeah.
If it's what's available and I'm really hungry, then yeah, I'll eat that.
I think it's according to how it's made and where. You know, the store-bought stuff. The store-bought stuff some of it is really good, but
Yeah.
there are some
It's like-
restaurants here that make their own, and it's fantastic.
I don't like coleslaw
Okay.
at most places. But my wife made some yesterday. It was phenomenal. So, yeah, you're right. It's all about how it's made and who's making it and what they're doing with it. But typically, no, I'm not all that fond of hummus.
I get it. On the 13th in 1607, a group of 104 colonists arrived from England and established the first permanent English colony in America. They named the settlement Jamestown in honor of King James I. In 1637, on the 13th, possibly on this date, Cardinal Richelieu created the table knife when he had the points rounded on all knives to be used at his table, presumably because he was a piece of crap. He did this so no one would stab him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see how that might play out, and you change them from pointy to blunt.
Yes. In 1806, on the 13th, the first definition of the term cocktail appeared in print in the Hudson, New York publication, The Balance and Columbian Repository. In reply to a reader's question, cocktail is a stimulating liquor composed of spirits of any kind, sugar, water, and bitters. That's why the 13th is World Cocktail Day.
That's a very specific recipe, and not at all what we've come to understand is what a cocktail is now.
Yeah, you usually don't add the water, but the other things...
Or even the bitters.
Well, yeah, but bitters are still used quite often, especially now that there's gourmet and craft bitters and stuff, that they are finding their way back into pop culture as a normal thing.
Interesting.
On the 13th in 1950, the Diners Club issued the first credit cards. In 1958, Velcro was trademarked.
Wow, and we really needed that.
We did, actually. That's some fastener like nobody's business. 2020, on the 13th, California State University, with 480,000 students at 23 campuses, cancels all class for the fall semester and will conduct all instruction online. That's the largest state university system in the country, probably in the world. On the 14th, it's National Buttermilk Biscuit Day.
It's always a good day.
It always is. National Dance Like a Chicken Day.
Depending on who you are, we may not want to see some people dancing.
This is so true. So true. In 1804, on the 14th, the Lewis and Clark expedition departed Camp Du Bois, or Camp Wood, Illinois, beginning their voyage to the Pacific coast. In 1853, Gail Borden applied for a patent for condensed milk. In 1878, Vaseline petroleum jelly was trademarked by Robert August Chesbrough. In 1896, the coldest May temperature ever recorded in the lower 48 states, anyway, -10 at Climax, Colorado.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
In May.
Bits are going to fall off at that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
In 1985, the first McDonald's restaurant there in Des Plaines, Illinois, became the first fast food museum.
And
In
that's where?
Des Plaines.
Des Plaines. Sorry, Ed.
In 1991, on the 14th, a new record was set for the world's largest burrito at 1,126 pounds. Again, how?
How you making that?
Yeah, because there's no way they're making a tortilla that big.
Right.
So how did it happen? I really need to
Inquiring
research some of
minds.
that stuff.
Yeah, we want to know.
Yeah. In 2020, retail orange juice sales jumped almost 50% in April. More countries and cities defy states' stay-at-home orders. The EU urges member countries to end the lockdown. So that's where we were. Then,
It was still too early.
yeah. On the 15th of May, it's National Chocolate Chip Day.
Yes. Yes. Any number of ways that we can talk about chocolate and have a new day for it. That's a wonderful thing.
It's also World Whiskey Day, and that's without the E, so that's Scotch whiskey. On 1602, on the 15th, English explorer Bartholomew Grosnand dropped anchor off the Massachusetts coast. The crew pulled in so many codfish that they threw numbers of them overboard again. So Gosnold decided to name the place Cape Cod. So
Interesting.
I think
that's how it happened.
Yeah, I think that's funny that this week we talk about Cape Cod because of the codfish, and today is National Shrimp Day, and both of those were in my dish last night. Yay me! Look at me.
Your dish is almost a prediction.
Yeah.
What's to come?
I'm almost all about serendipity right now. In 1862,
Almost.
on the 15th, the U.S. Bureau of Agriculture was established. It became the USDA, Department of Agriculture, in 1889. On the 15th, in 1923, Listerine was registered as a trademark. I like the original flavor of Listerine. A lot of people do not. I mean, I like the Cool Mint one too, but I actually don't mind that yellow stuff. In 1940,
You even call it the yellow stuff.
the yellow stuff.
Okay.
In 1940, on the 15th, nationwide sales of nylon stockings begin.
Oh,
This is probably to your chagrin, Ray, but in 1989, Hershey's reduces the size of the Hershey bar to 1.55 ounces. The price remained the same, though, at 40 cents.
that was a dark day in American chocolate.
It's probably a milk day, too. In 2020, on the 15th, weekly unemployment claims reached 2.98 million just for that week. 2-month coronavirus total jobs lost at 36.5 million. Research indicates that up to 20% of full-service restaurants and bars will close permanently in 2020. Cases more than 1,457,980 or 590, with over 86,000 deaths in the United States alone. Global cases more than 4.5 million, with over 303,000 deaths. And I'm going to jump back 19 years to the 15th in 2002. Timothy G. Beeman III was born. We know him as Trey. My boy begins his 20th year and his last year as a teenager on Saturday.
Awesome.
Yeah, I can't believe I let him live that long.
And he's made you proud.
He certainly has. Lord, he certainly has. More than I ever thought possible. On the 16th, it is National Coquille Saint-Jacques Day, which is made with scallops.
Okay. Thank you. Is that what I'm going to have to ask?
Yeah. On the 16th in 1771, James Baker of Baker's chocolate fame bought what is believed to be the first order of cocoa beans.
Huh.
In 1866, Congress authorized the minting of a 5-cent coin made of copper nickel and referred to as a nickel. Silver 5-cent pieces had been called half dimes before. In
I did
18
not know there was a half dime.
I didn't either. In 1888, the Canadian Pacific Railroad opened the 5-story Hotel Vancouver in Vancouver. And in a matter of what did we do before this came along, in 1914, the Grand League of the American Horseshoe Pitchers Association was founded.
Wow, you're right. What did we do before that?
No clue. How did we get by?
Did we just throw horseshoes randomly with no purpose or thought behind them?
I think the term was willy-nilly. Yeah, I don't know. In 1929,
we have a governing body for that now.
Yeah, me too. It keeps everybody regulated.
We all need to be regular.
Yeah, we do. On the 16th in 1929, the first Academy Awards were presented during a banquet at the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. In 1965, Franco-American SpaghettiOs are introduced. Variously sized pasta rings in a tomato and cheese-like sauce. I won't say it's really a tomato and cheese sauce. It's sold in cans. Yeah.
It's remarkably artificial, but dang, didn't we eat a lot of it when we were kids?
The bejesus. We ate the bejesus out of it. In 2005, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that Michigan and New York could not prohibit people from buying wine online from out-of-state wineries. Some 23 other states have similar laws that presumably would also be affected by the ruling. I believe our state, North Carolina, was one of those. I believe you can do it now. In 2019, a customer at a Manchester, England Hawksmoor Steakhouse ordered a $335 bottle of Bordeaux wine. Whoa. But was mistakenly served instead a Chateau Lapin Pomerol 2001 Bordeaux worth $5,800. It is the most expensive wine on that Hawksmoor's list.
Wow. Can you imagine spending that much money on a glass of wine?
No. I cannot imagine even more so being the employee who messed that up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh. In 2020, on the 16th, coronavirus stuff, restaurant and hospitality employment dropped by about 48% since February. U.S. retail sales dropped 16.4% in April of last year, largest drop on record, and JCPenney on this date in 2020 filed for bankruptcy.
I wonder where they are with that, or if they will even survive.
I don't know. That's all your food holidays and history for the week. Special thanks to James Ealer at foodreference.com for making us chuckle and roll our eyes, and know that Ray likes nuts in his fudge.
I like you, so, you know. I do like nuts.
Right on. So the Man Who Ate the Town and happy birthday to my boy on Saturday. The Man Who Ate the Town podcast is part of the Less Desirables podcast network. Along with this podcast, you can listen to the Less Desirables, the Beer Dads, Fan Interference, Wheeler's Dog, and Asylum Tales from the Devereaux Diaries podcast. You can find all those podcasts, you should, and their latest episodes on our network website and directory, tldpodnetwork.com. You'll also find social media links to each one there as well. This is a reminder to all the listeners, and is good practice, not just for now, but for always. Wash your damn hands. Wash with warm water and soap. Wash with that soap for 20 seconds or more. Sing along while you do it. Hopefully, with the internet going out, I didn't lose my place here. We'll see.
Let's see.
She was so good back then.
Yeah. You know, the first time, I may have told you this, first time I ever saw her was on American Bandstand, and she said to Dick Clark, I plan to take over the world.
Yeah.
And she did.
Yeah. So the reason I played that is today, hello, bird, flew into the window. He didn't die. He just flew at it. But today, in 1989, this was released as a single, Express Yourself, from the Like a Prayer album.
Is that her second or third?
That is fourth. Because the first one was Madonna. Second one was Like a Virgin. Third one was True Blue. And then this one.
Mm. Yeah, I liked her early stuff a whole lot more, just like you.
Yep. And I have, some of her later stuff, and it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not as good as, to me, anyway.
Right.
So keep an eye on the blog, especially for recipes and more about Mauritius. Hopefully that piques your interest. And this podcast, actually, to find out more about the food news and happenings around town. If you have any food news, send us an email at Tim or Ray, or actually Lee. I talked to her this morning. She's just been slammed. You can also, at themanwhoatetown.com. You can also contact us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter Instant Messengers. Like us on Facebook. On Twitter, we are Man8 the Town. On Instagram, we are Man8 the Town. And now we invite you to call and leave a voicemail for the podcast on the TLD network. You can call 336-422-6862. That's right, 336-422 NUM. Leave us a voicemail and we'll play it on the podcast. Again, 336-422 NUM 6862. Well, my name is Tim.
My name's Ray.
And we're closing that recipe box. Until next time, thank you for reading and thank you for listening. Bon appetit. Yamas. The views and opinions stated by me or any of my guests are solely those of ours and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of our hosting companies, distributors, enemies, friends, or relatives. This podcast is copyrighted and cannot be reproduced or distributed without express written consent of the man who ate the town, that's me, and Such Limited Inc. However, if you ask nicely, we'll probably let you.